Bizarre Brain Comics. Whoa, whoa there, Nightmare. Ah, good, oh, yeah. Oh, hi, 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 yeah. Howdy, howdy, howdy there, partner. Yeah. Ha, ha, got him. I am the Trigger Kid, and I'm here to tell you tales of the Wild West that never was. So come on, join me here. Yeehaw! Wild rootin', tootin', shootin'. Wild West adventures. Mm-hmm. Well, this is where I like to take a look at some older comics. Talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and then examine the stories in Europe. And today, this time, we're going to take a look at this one right here. This is Western Gunfighters, number 12, featuring the Black Rider, Apache Kid, and the one that we're going to take a look at, Matt Slade Gunfighter. This book is from 1972, but all the stories that they printed were actually from the 50s, from Marvel Comics. So let's take a little look at Matt Slade, see what the big book of knowledge has to say about him. Oh, right there on the front. Western Gunfighters, number 12, 1972. And this is a reprint from Matt Slade Atlas, number 1, from 1956. It's in Matt Slade Gunfighter. This is art by Joe Maneli, and I could not see who created it. And Joe Maneli was born. It was from 1926 to 1958. He was only 32 years old. He worked at Atlas in the 50s with Steve Ditko and John Romita under Stan Lee. Moo, moo, moo! Hear them beeves a-bawling? And Stan is credited with saying that Maneli could have been the next Jack Kirby had he not died in a commuter train accident. At Atlas, he created the character of the Black Knight, the Ringo Kid, and the Yellow Claw and Jimmy Woo. Those last two went together. And Jimmy Woo turned up years later in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Maneli was born and raised in Philadelphia, went to Northeastern Catholic High School, and created a comic strip for the school paper. And dropping out of school, he joined the Navy for 3 years, specialized in visual aids. He did cartoons for ship's papers. After serving, he went to the Houston School of Art in Philadelphia. Then worked in an ad department of a newspaper and started freelancing in comics from Street and Smith in 1948. Eventually, he started working for Timely, later Atlas, which became Marvel. That's about that. Okay. Let's turn back the clock to those thrilling days of yesteryear. And let's join an adventure with Matt Slade Gunfighter. Yeah, that's Matt Slade Gunfighter from Western Gunfighters. And nice cover. Treachery at Hangman's Bridge. That has nothing to do with Matt Slade. Because this is an anthology Western comic from Marvel, 1972. And you can see here, there. So you can see here the characters. That's the Black Rider. There's the Apache Kid, and here's Matt Slade. And these books usually had 4 stories, so their stories are fairly short. They would usually have one of each of these title characters, and then a separate standalone story in there. And I always like Westerns, as I told you before. And these are kind of neat. So let's take a look. I'll just take a little peruse here. Black Rider. There's Apache Kid. I think it's John Romita who did the Apache Kid. I'm not sure. Here we go. Here's the first page of this Matt Slade story. And this story is a reprint, as I said, from the first issue of Matt Slade from, what did I say, 56, I think is what I said. And when I was reading this, I was thinking, because initially I didn't know who the artist was. Then I see this signature right down here. That I thought it might have been John Severin. There's a lot of stuff in there that just kind of reminds me of John Severin, but it wasn't, because it did look different, but it had a lot of resemblance to some John Severin art. And it starts off with this splash page. This is a really, I think, a powerful splash panel right here. And it tells you a lot of information, and I think it's good. And then, of course, it's got the text down here underneath. But you see that, of course, is Matt Slade just coming into the saloon with bat wings. And I want to point out something that's a little unusual for Western heroes, especially in comics at this time. Not that he carries 2 guns, but he is cross-draw rigs. That's real unusual. But he's a good fighter. Good gunfighter. Says, Matt Slade, gunfighter, outlaw, peace officer, killer. Which of the many tales that circled his name in violence was true? Well, we're going to find out here. You can see here, nice interior. You see him, then you see right over here, wanted poster, dead or alive, $1,000. And you tell it's him, all these other guys. It says, Matt Slade, he's worth $1,000, dead or alive. That's and startling enough that everyone's turning around. And the bartender draws a gun. He's that guy at the bar. He's spilled his drink. And they realize who he is. Everybody either scatters or draws iron. It says, lead ripped across the room, but that lean, grim face above smashing Colts that never missed shook hands, and their aims... No, said they wrong. Shook gun hands, and their aims were off. Ooh, 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 boom. So everyone missed him, but he got everybody. And I read that terribly. And here we go, because it's fast-paced, it's a short story, and you've got to get right into the action and see what's going. So he turns around and gets on his horse. Well, in the process of the gunfight there in the saloon at the hotel, it started a fire. So here this is in Carson City. It doesn't specify what Carson City. This is Carson City Hotel, and the place is starting to burn. As he's trying to get away here, he hears a "help, help" from a little girl. Oh, that kid's trapped up there. That old hotel will collapse any minute. So he turns around, braces his pursuers, and rushes into the hotel, and moments later comes rushing out, saving the little girl as the building collapses around him. Delivers the girl to his mother, back on his horse, and he's off. That's some really nice, quick, fast-paced visual storytelling here. And that's a real nice drawing right there. But he takes off in the process. He burned his hands. He found a cabin to hole up, so his hands could heal. He's bandaged up. So this is some days or a couple weeks later. Someone comes in. He's quick to the draw. "Who is it? Speak up or I start throwing lead." And it's the little girl, and she's brought her father. And turns out he is the governor of the territory. And he confronts Slade. Said, I'm not here to arrest you or nothing, but since you risked your freedom to save my little girl, shows that you're not necessarily such a bad man. I looked into your record, and I only found one possible charge that actually seems to hold water, and that was a bank robbery when he was still just a kid. And then here he tells the story, and this is the story of Matt Slade, how he and his father lost their little farm, needing work while they're traveling and needing work, and they take refuge with some men who are camped one night, and they offer him a job. "Yeah, just come on into town with us tomorrow. We got a little job for you, and I'll pay you some money." So they do that. They come into town and say, "Here, just hold our horses," and then they go and rob the bank. So, uh-oh, that's when they discover what it was. Well, they have to take they can't. They have to take off with the outlaw band. And then they confront him. Says, we can't do this. You tricked us. We're going back and we're going to tell the sheriff." And then the leader, whose name is Poe, I think is what they said his name was. Let's see. This is that fellow right there. He shoots Slade's father, Matt. Buries his dad. He keeps traveling around, surviving any way he can. Eventually gets himself a gun, or a couple of guns actually, and starts practicing with it because he swears vengeance. Yada yada yada. Years later, he's being offered a job as a special marshal for the governor's office, and he wants him to go sneak, using his reputation as an outlaw, to infiltrate this real bad band of outlaws up in Robber's Roost, or whatever they call it, or Hole in the Wall, I guess. And he goes up there because he'll get a pardon and a job out of the deal, but no one could know because he's got to be undercover. So he goes in, and they stop him, take him in. "Okay, hey boss, this here fellow wants to join up with us." So, "Who are you?" "This here's the boss of the Hole in the Wall, Poe Jelks, and it just happens to be the guy who killed his father." Well, Matt Slade instantly recognizes him, and then Slade tells him who he is, and he just goes wild. And I said, get him, because he knows he's in for trouble. Now, I really like this little bit of visual storytelling here. It's like slow motion. Here you get to see some really nice drawing. I remember seeing this series, reading this when I was a kid, and all I remember from the story were these 3 panels right here. So you see Slade going for his guns, pulling them, and then blasting away. It's almost like slow motion. And he's blasting and blasting and blasting, and they all take off. Some of them take off, others he gets captured. He doesn't kill anybody though. And there he is, got them all tied up prisoners and hauling them off to the pokey. Ha ha ha! Yeah, and that was the introduction to Matt Slade Gunfighter, and I like that character. It's real unfortunate that the artist, I think the artist Maneli had a lot of potential. It's unfortunate that he lost his life so young. So, and here we have Apache Kid story. This turns out that, as I said, these books had 4 stories in them. Just so happens that this one happened to have 2 Apache Kid stories in it, and I really like this this cover illustration. There's no credit, but I think John Romita did either the pencils or the inks. I see what seems to be John Romita influence in her, but I can't be sure. I just cannot be sure. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Often I can easily recognize. Now I'm very familiar with this art, with this style, but I can't place it to absolutely to a single individual, but I think it's John Romita. So, thank you for joining me in our trip to the Wild West. Yeehaw! And please like, share, subscribe. Share it with your other Western-loving friends. Leave a comment. And remember, comics are art.